What's up, my brothers and my sisters from another mister? In this video, we're going to talk about Spawn's shocking discovery, how he uncovers the truth behind his assassination and betrayal. This story right here is about Spawn seeking revenge on the masterminds behind his assassination. This full story covers Spawn issues number 12 and 13, Flashback storyline part 1 and 2. Before we go into the content, link in description if you wish to purchase any of the comic books in this review and or some of our Rated Comics exclusives. Support the art, support the industry. If you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. It'll help Rated Comics to make more comic book reviews and comic book related content like this. Also, timestamps in the description if you wish to go from issue to issue. Lastly, let's get into the content. We begin this issue with Spawn being drawn to the top of the church again. He ponders how the devil twists people's souls and their words with his secret weapon, the people's weakness to love. That's how Malboja convinced Spawn to, rule his army and take the Hellspawn symbiote, all in the name of love, to see Wanda again. But Spawn doesn't know all the answers either. Who killed him? Why his memories come back in fragments. But eventually, this new Spawn will have all of his answers. Until that day, he can only continue the struggle for some sense of order and meaning to his existence. His memory, it comes in sporadically, but some of those memories are buried deep while some surface as sporadic moments that come back to his memory. At least he accepts the notion that his life is completely out of control. The fight with Angela, the Angel Warrior in issue number 9, sent him to Purgatory in issue number 10, which was temporarily disconnecting his powers, but when all seemed lost, within a blink, he finds himself back on Earth again. But yet he keeps getting lured back to this church sign. The only obvious connection to why he's going back to that church. And in his mind, it's because of his wedding. The only time he entered a church was when he married Wanda Blake. And that was the beautiful day in Al Simmons' life. Wanda Blake looks stunning. And it was to the point where his attention was so focused on her beauty, he forgot to say I do and just give me the kiss, girl. I'm ready to go on with the happily, lawfully married wife and life. And how could he ever forget little Grandma Blake? Her blindness never slowed that woman down for a second, and she was feisty and ready for a granddaughter. And she pressured Al, why don't you convince Wanda to take your last name? And Al Simmons is like, well, the reason is I married Wanda Blake, not Wanda Simmons, and for her to take on my last name, it'll sound like my sister. Well, what are you gonna do when you have children? And Al was not even thinking about that back in the flashback. And he's like, don't worry, we got it all figured out. Instead of Blake Simmons, we're just gonna shorten it to BS, like Big BS or Little Son BS or whatever. And even though Grandma Blake was not amused by it, well, she had to ride with it. She supported it. And Al recalls a time where he thought that he was sterile, and the doctors told him that he wasn't sterile, but they never had any children together. But after his death, his best man, Terry, who was at the wedding, decided to marry Wanda Blake. And Spawn, Al Simmons, feels betrayed, like how could Terry do that to me? He gave her a child, even though it's not Terry's fault. It's just a crappy feeling that Al has to deal with. So back in Washington, D.C., in the office of Jason Wynn, his henchman tells him that their investigation showed that only a handful of personnel even had access to those files, sir. And I believe that was the issue in Spawn, issue number 6 or 7, when he fought Overkill, when he went to the abandoned warehouse and took all those weapons. I think it's coming back full circle now. And the henchman tells him that their data shows that the likely suspect is Terry Fitzgerald. And the reason why is because he's heavily linked with all the facets of high priority governmental projects, as well as constant interaction with the CIA. To this point, he has kept a clean record and has been completely open to security checks. So Terry's like, what's his motive? I don't know. I'm sure you know his best friend was Lieutenant Al Simmons, and he married his wife. So you remember Simmons? And Jason Wynn's like, yeah, I remember him. He was a major disappointment. Shame about his death. And that grin's like, yeah, I was behind it, so whatever. So at first glance, so with all that being said, I think Terry Fitzgerald is the reason why all those weapons are going missing and people are probing when it's actually Al Simmons is doing all the probing. So Jason Wynn wants to send a message to Terry Fitzgerald. He asks his agents and his henchmen contact a couple people in New York and have them pay a visit to Terry Fitzgerald and then rattle him up a little bit and see what happens. It's always amusing to see which direction a scuttling weasel will run. Okay. So in this panel right here, Al Simmons disguises himself as a human or dresses up in the trench coat and a hat to visit blind Granny Blake. He says hi, and Granny Blake's like, is this really you? And she's surprised, like, oh my dear Al, this can't be you. I mean, should I get scared? And Al Simmons is like, no, please don't. I won't be long. I just came to tell you that you were right. There is an afterlife. I'm sorry I didn't believe you, and I'm so sorry I didn't heed your warnings. I've been sent to tell you that there's a place in heaven waiting for you when your day comes. The heavens will trumpet your arrival. And Granny's like, why? You're in heaven, so it's all good. And bless you, child. I look forward to joining you and my other friends someday in heaven. And you notice in this panel, Al does not have the guts, or how can he tell that he's not in heaven? But he tells her, Granny, I won't be there with you. Heaven's for the great spirits of the world, those who care for those who overcome great hardships. I created strife, not love. When others held out their hands to him, he walked away. God's welcome believers, not doubters. And Al Simmons does establish that he didn't believe in God in previous issues. And Granny Blake is being compassionate right now, telling him, Al Simmons, listen to me, boy. You are a hero. You understand? Everyone always told me. I don't know why you're so confused, but God didn't send you down here just to tell me I'm going to heaven. That don't make no sense. And ain't no way Satan's gonna send you down here just to tell me that I'm going to heaven. So listen to me, Al. I love you very much. You made me laugh like no one else. I miss you. And of course, with Wanda, since you're watching over her and where you're at, she's doing well with her new husband and her daughter Cyan. And Spawn, or Al, asks her, I have to ask you some questions because this is a really cool character moment for Al Simmons. Does Wanda still think of me? Oh my God, says Granny Blake, that woman still loves you and she misses you more than ever. You gave her happiness, Al, and love that no one can take that away from her. Terry's a good guy, but she thinks about you all the time. And Al walks away knowing that he has that comfort and that closure right there. So meanwhile, in New York City's 12th Precinct NYPD Police Department, Sam and Twitch are they can't believe this crap. They're getting suspended or under internal investigation affairs because of what happened to Billy Kincaid in issue number 5. The chief thinks it's them and IA is investigating them to see what happens. And Sam's like, look, even though we didn't do it, but that son of a bitch, Billy Kincaid, deserves to have ice cream scoops and sticks stuck up his ass. And we know they didn't do it, but that's pretty much what's going on in this panel right here. And also, let's not forget, after Sam and Twitch saw Spawn briefly in issue number 5, they realized, well, while we're on probation or internal affairs is on our asses about this, how about we looked into that Cape Crusader who was on that scene, and that gets him on the trail to follow and look into Spawn. And this panel right here, the sun is shining bright and it's Wanda Blake walking her daughter Cyan. So pretty much what's happening in this panel here is it's establishing Cyan doesn't know how to say yes yet. When she says no, there's chances are she means yes. Do you like the day? No. Do you mean yes? Chess. She says chess instead of yes because she can't say yes yet. So when Terry comes in, it's a cute moment that build up here, but what really is the point of this panel right here is to build up the family dynamic with Terry, Wanda, and Cyan, so that way when the CIA agents or the henchmen come over, they tell Terry, beautiful family you have there, Mr. Fitzgerald. It'll sure be a shame to see something happen to him. Real shame. So they deliver the threat per Jason Wynn's request, and he's having a field day with that. So now they sit back and have Terry get followed to see what he does next because they're on to him. Even though Terry's innocent, they're on to him. Now we go into a few panels right here where Al Simmons is getting drunk with the bums in the alleyway as a way of male bonding, because that's what we do. Liquor and food brings the boys together. Ahoo! But Gara, being drunk and telling stories, not noticing, he notices that Al Simmons' symbiote face mask is on the floor, so he puts it on. But as he puts it on and starts telling his joke, the symbiote crushes him and he cannot breathe. Ow! He can't breathe! Help me! That damn mask is trying to suffocate me! So Spawn goes into the rescue, and after he removes the symbiote mask from his head, Spawn tells him, Gar, are you okay? I'm sorry, but I don't have any control over this. You have to believe me. And Gar was like, it's all good. That mask, I might have almost died, but it beats smelling old Jurassic fart, Bobby's farts, So it's just this little stupid sense of humor, just as a way of bringing levity to him almost dying, So we get to know more about the symbiote, and Spawn says, look, I'm sorry about this, but I have to tell you this is not funny. None of it is. I can't contain that costume's movement when it perceives an enemy enemy, it makes its own choices. Like, why did it attack you? I don't know. It may consider you a hostile threat, but don't ask. I don't have a clue how to use this thing, and yet for some reason I feel like I need this outfit. So Spawn, feeling guilty about this, he walks away, demanding to be left alone. Then suddenly Al's mind explodes. He believes it's the alcohol, but it's not. Then suddenly the picture becomes clear. He had a thought of a coffin, a reminder of his death. In a way, it was, but it was also so much more. The flag is the missing piece of the puzzle, and the skull signifies death. Not the Grim Reaper, as his instincts were telling him, but the face of a killer. He sees the face of death springing forth like an evil weed to choke off things around it. Then suddenly, finally, it all makes sense to him. The flag didn't signify patriotism, it was the killer's employer. The face of death was nothing more than a mask, or specifically makeup. And the final piece, it now seems so damn obvious. It was the church. It wasn't his wedding why he was gravitating towards the church. It's his name. It wasn't a church. It's Chapel. Spawn, Al Simmons, killer. And that's where we end this issue of Spawn, issue number 12. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Link in the description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Also, don't forget to check out RatedComics.com for some really cool comics and some Rated Comics exclusives as well. We begin this issue with Al Simmons recalling in time that he was playing baseball and how he broke his ankle, and being next to Wanda, that's all he can remember was how beautiful she was and how they made love until the sun came up in the next morning and how she made him feel. Personally, I think this is a callback to when Todd McFarlane used to play baseball, and this is a little bit of Todd McFarlane inside the character Spawn, how he resonates with him. Now in this panel right here, we're at Young Blood headquarters where Badrock is on guard duty playing video games. And if you're not familiar with Young Bloods, it's a comic book series within Image Comics. I have not checked it out, I just know that's what the text is saying over here. But at that time, Spawn is recalling his friend Chapel, recalling the time he killed him. Yeah, Chapel killed Spawn, that's Spawn's killers. He heard he was being recruited into this Young Blood program. So Spawn checked in, and at the Young Blood headquarters, this place is rigged with a heat sensor that detects anything remotely human. Because Spawn is not remotely human, it doesn't detect it, so he's been sitting there, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike Chapel and get down with the get down. But in the meantime, he recalls and tells the little remembrance that he has with Chapel. Death is all that they have in common, and woman, because Chapel, he loves his one night stands. He has no one that he cares about, no family, no friends. But that's what Chapel loves. And the longer that Al Simmons waits in that Young Blood headquarters room, he finds it harder to hate, to stay motivated to kill Chapel, to do some damage to Chapel. But he reminds himself that the love he had for Wanda and how Chapel took that away from him. So how does he hate? Well, some people can hate but not be angry, and some people can be angry and not hate. It takes a very evil person to make you combine the two, and Chapel has become that, and now Spawn is motivated for the showdown. And the thing is, if Chapel can kill a friend, everything else is easy and enjoyable. And we see Chapel in this training session duking out with droid robots. Shaft, their team leader of the Youngblood, comes in, tells them to calm down. Hey, it's time to get everyone together for this team meeting. And Chapel's like, not me, baby. You guys could quit if you want to. I'm just getting warmed up. And Spawn just further motivates his incentive to kill Chapel. Down the hallway, he's still as cocky as ever. Good, I didn't want this to be easy. Because with my powers, I can't lose. No matter what happens in the next few hours, I've got the winning hand. So now Spawn emerges and just flexes his superiority in the Young Blood headquarters. He spots Chapel 30 feet away, and for lack of a better term, his heart does drop or skip a beat, even though, as we know, Violator removed his heart, but he's dead now. Though he wishes not to waste any more of his precious new powers, he knows he has no choice because he doesn't want Shaft, he doesn't want the other leaders, he wants strictly Chapel. And their team leader, Shaft, commands the respect of those he leads. And he's like, hey mister, don't make a move. I don't know how you get in, but you're not gonna get out. And Spawn's like, make your move. Everyone freezes because they don't know who they're up against. But in this moment, Badrock enters the room like, hey yo dudes, what's up? Some trip the alarm. Anyways, it's kind of a stupid comedic right there, but he's thinking Spawn is another recruit. So Spawn's like, nah man, enough time with this. He lifts his hands and gestures ever so slowly like a modern day Dracula, because he morphed into size and he's shrinking and twisting, radiating colors of greenish and blue until he's completely gone from their sight. Him and Chapel go away and they don't know where they're at. So Shaft tells the T to lift it up, sweep the complex, search for signs of other security breaches. If it's not clear, notify headquarters. I've just reassigned our unit. This is priority 1. Check the databases. We got to get a move on this thing. So in this panel right here, it's late night for Terry Fitzgerald and Wanda and their daughter Cyan in their New York neighborhood. As an agent of the United States Security Group, Terry always faced the possibility of danger. He distanced himself from that side of things years ago when he shifted over to its intercultural liaison unit. After what happened to Al, he needed a break from the front line of activity. Plus, the man has a family now. But this morning's threats from the previous issue, he knows the security group doesn't muscle its own unless they have something very serious on him. And for the life of him, he can't imagine what that would be. Wanda wakes up and tells him to go back to bed. He can't, unfortunately, so he goes to check on his child. She asks him, is there something to talk about? And he can't. But she knew that when she chose to be with him, there's some parts of his line of work that he has to keep secret, and he's not ready to release that to her. And she's okay with that. So he gazes over his daughter's innocent face and he wonders how much time is left before she learns the cruelty that people do to each other on this world. In this panel right here, we see Detective Sam Breck is just finishing a miserable day of work in the field, hearing complaints of concerned citizens. In this case, it's an elderly lady telling Sam how she stabbed her husband in the ass cheek, so to speak. It's a weird story, but Twitch comes in and their investigation is almost complete, and if everything goes well, they should be back on the streets in terms of doing their duties, fiduciary cop duties, by Thursday. And if we're acquitted, we're back on the streets and all is good, baby. And Sam's like, good, thank you, Twitch, because I'm going to find our little red hero that day, Spawn. Even though he doesn't know that his name is Spawn, he knows they gotta find Spawn and let him know what they've been going through, because they saw Spawn in Spawn issue number 5 when he killed Billy Kincaid. So now, back into the action. Nearly 8,000 miles from the Youngblood headquarters lies a certain swamp in Botswana. A green mist swirls there, visibly taking form. They show up, and Chapel's like, where the hell are we, boy? And Spawn's like, surely you haven't forgotten about this place. And Chapel's like, man, I don't pay attention to any landscape when I'm working. Exactly, says Spawn. You never give a damn about anything that crossed your path, even your so-called friends. And Spawn's trying to give him remembrance like, yo, this is Al, by giving him clues. And Chapel's like, I ain't trying to hear all that shit. Buddy, you don't know a damn thing about me. Not a goddamn thing. If we're here to fight, then let's get it on. And Spawn's like, okay, I see. Always a tough guy, eh? I've forgotten how deep your arrogance can be. Everything I am, you gave to me in a roundabout way. The devil didn't make me, you did. You only took advantage of me after I was dead. As for fighting, you're damn right we're gonna fight. And by the way, your signal device, I've scrambled your signal so your friends won't be helping you today. Spawn removes his cape in preparation for battle, and Chapel goes in, and Spawn's like, I ain't disappointed, I love this. And he clobbers him with the right hook. You haven't been listening, boy. You killed me, you stole everything from me, and don't you remember it? And Chapel flies back. Look at what you've made. He takes off his symbiote mask, hoping that Chapel will remember or recognize that it was Al. I thought we were the same and we loved our country. But friends, you don't slaughter your friends. It was the enemy we were after that day. But I guess I made a fatal mistake in trusting you. And Chapel's like, you're crazy. That's for sure. It's going to be a pleasure breaking your scrawny little neck, and let's end this now. You haven't changed at all in the years, says Spawn. Not at all. So full of yourself. Always did think you were the best, even with the ladies. Isn't that right? There's a callback right here. Remember? The Don Juan of Killers. If you don't remember, that's what Spawn calls Chapel when he was alive. The Don Juan of the ladies. Now he's the Don Juan of Killers. And that opens up Chapel's eyes, and he remembers a flashback elsewhere in past events where him and Jason Wynn were in the room. Jason Wynn gave Chapel the order to eliminate Simmons. Why? Because even though he's a friend, Jason Wynn tells Chapel that Spawn was flagged as a spy for their enemies, and his orders were to eliminate Al. And Chapel was one of them kind of brothers, he doesn't question the order, he just does it. And he verified nothing, and that's what pissed Spawn off. So who's better to kill a security problem than an obedient puppet? And that's Chapel. For Chapel, it was all about getting the job done. And when the time came, he loaded his laser pick, walked up to Al because he had the ability to get close to Al because they were friends once upon a time, and blast his brains to a crisp. And Chapel's like, "You're not real, you can't be." Back in present time, and he clobbers Spawn. "It must be Geiger messing with me, always throwing me some illusions or trickery at me. But to use you, Simmons, oh, that's a good one." And he tries to drown Simmons in the water like, "You got your own problems now, I'm gonna kill you." And Spawn's like, "Look, I'm not dead enough and you can't kill me. I got the upper hand here." And as he, gets the upper hand and tosses his ass to the side, Chapel's like, "Maybe it's you, maybe it's not. But I never could stomach your whining and bitching all the time, trying to fix everything. You always were the goody two shoes. You screwed everything, but damn you, it was me who took the serum, not you. I'm the one poisoned with HIV. I'm imagining that's like superhuman strength or something. So screw your sob story." Not realizing this, Chapel doesn't know that human weapons don't hurt Spawn. And Al Simmons is like, "How pitiful you've become. I didn't take the serum because Wanda and I were trying to conceive. So you believe what you want. I don't care." He takes out the blade. "But it is me, back from the dead, with more power than I need, but little else." "You don't scare me," says Chapel. "I killed you once, I could do it again." And Spawn's like, "Wrong. I'm the one in position to kill. You'll be dead if that's what I wanted, but it's not. You see, Chapel, when I died, friends and family mourned my loss. My death caused a lot of sadness. But if I kill you, no one will give a damn. You don't have any friends or family who would shed a single tear. Only thing you ever care about was that one night, poom, poom, chunk, chunk, down, Just a bunch of whores you didn't give a damn about the next day. That's all you got, and that's all you'll ever have. Well, I could fix that." So Spawn uses his power, time to even the score, and Chapel screams in pain, and Spawn gives him back his tracker. "Here, it works now. Your pal should be able to find you from now. I want you to see how tough you really are, to see if you can really keep this war on a personal level. Bye, bitch." 8 hours later, young bloods go up into the island and look for Chapel. "What happened? You see the guy in the red cape? What happened? What went down over here?" And all Chapel can do is say nothing as Spawn branded his face in the form of a skull, and Chapel's just pissed. But this is a brutal ending, and that's where we end this issue, this review of Spawn, issue number 13. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. Link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. This video is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description because I do these in the early mornings, or donate to the super things. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.